the first thing I did here is to fold my fabric into two. So guys, the width I have here is just the bust measurement plus like extra 3 inches is what I have here. So the bust measurement divided by 4 plus 3, so that's 10.5 plus extra 3 inches, or you can do extra 4 inches. So that's the width I have here. And then the length is, if you look at the top, you'll find that her own is a little bit high, so I decided that my top is going to start somewhere at 6.5 from my shoulder down, and then this is the length here. I have about 25. So guys, the next thing I'm going to do now is just to I've gone ahead and marked in my lines across. So this line here is my waistline, this line here is my under bust line, which is at 14.5, my waistline is at 17.5, and then at 12 is my, so this is my shoulder to the breast point, and then this is my armhole, which is at 9 inches, 9 inches somewhere here, and then this is just the half an inch I need to join this top part. So whatever length you decide to use from yours, you have to add about 1 inch to it. 1 inch, half an inch for the bottom and half an inch for the top part. So guys, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide the nipple to nipple measurement by 2 and add 1 to it. So divided by 2 is going to be 4, plus 1 is going to be 5. So I'm going to mark 5 inches all the way down. So guys, after that, I connected the line all the way down. Remember, this is my waistline, this is my under bust line, this is my breast point, this is the armhole line, right? So now on this waistline, I'm going to mark about, depending on your size, you can do 0.5 on each side, sorry, half an inch on each side, or you can do 0.7. So that's split 1.5 between the two sides. I'm going to split 1.5 on the two sides. I'm also going to do the same thing on this line, and then I'm going to connect it. So 0.7 is on this side, 0.7 is on this side. Bring it down here, connect it also on this side, and then coming up to this line, I'm going to just connect it into this line this way, and then also connect it into this line this way on my breast point line. Then I'm going to go up to this top line and split 1 inch on both sides, right? 1 inch up here on this side and 1 inch up here on this side, and then I'm going to bring it down to this point here, and then bring this one down into this point here. So that's basically it. Now all I have to do is just to start inserting my measurements across. So guys, this same measurement I took here, I'm going to come down here and mark half an inch on both sides. Instead of 0.7, I'm going to do half an inch on each side, and then bring it down here this way, and then bring this one down. Use your ruler to connect it. So guys, after that now, so we're going to insert our measurements. So the first thing you're going to measure is for this top part of your off shoulder. You measure, so guys, you're going to measure from one side of your armpit to the other, the length between that two sides. So for me, that is about 14 inches. Divided by 2 is going to be 7. So I'm going to mark that 7 here. But then remember, there's 2 inches here that I took away. I'm going to add that 2 inches back. So after adding that back now, I'm going to bring it down to my armhole line and then draw my armhole, because remember, this is my armhole line, right? I'm going to draw in my armhole. And then to my bust point line, I'm going to go ahead and let me be sure that this is my exactly on the line. So let me place back my tape. My armhole divided by 2 is 9 inches, so it's somewhere down here. So this line should be a little bit lower, so it should be here. So this is my armhole here, right? So all you have to do is just to measure where your armhole falls in. If your armhole divided by 2 is 10, you just mark 10, because all you have to do is just to place your tape. Remember where your top part is supposed to start. If it's at 6.5, just place it at the very top where it's supposed to be, and then mark it. If it's at 10 inches, mark it. If it's at 9.5 or 9 inches, whatever it is, just mark where it's supposed to be. So this is my armhole, and then you're going to divide your bust measurement by 2. So divided by 4 is what you're going to do, and then you're going to mark. So for me, that's 10.5. I'm going to mark it here, and then I'm going to add about extra two inches of seam allowance or 2.5 inches of seam allowance. Mark that here. So guys, the same thing is what you will do on this this line of the armhole. So what you're going to do is just divide your bust measurement by 4, mark that, and then you're going to take whatever it is you have here. So for me, that's 1 inch in this line here. Add that 1 inch back, and then add back about 2.5 inches of sewing allowance. So that's basically it. So now you're going to connect this to this, connect it to this lower part, and then the same thing on your waist. So you go down to your waist, divide the waist you're working with by 4. So I'm going to mark that here at 8.5 here, and then take this measurement you have in between here, which for me is 1.5, put it back, and then add back again your 2.5 inches of sewing allowance, and then connect it down. So you're going to bring this down to this point now. So guys, I'm going to take my hip measurement and insert it on this lower line. Although this line doesn't get exactly to my hip, but I'm going to use my hip measurement for this lower part. So the hip I'm working with is about 46 divided by 4 is going to be about 11.5, right? Mark that here, and then just insert your seam allowance, and then insert what you have here. So I have 1 inch here, and then let's say about 2 inches of seam allowance here. So you spread this back out this way. So now you have like your top. The measurement you have at this end doesn't matter. We are going to cut it off because the hip measurement and all the normal seam allowances cannot fit in here, because when I folded it, I used the bust measurement for it. But remember, this is a basic top, so you're still going to chip off from the waist because it doesn't get to the hip, right? So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come down 2 inches on this line, or you can do more than 2 inches. Just measure on yourself where you want yours to be. I'm going to do like 2.5 down here. So guys, this is my waistline, but I did 2.5 because I need 1/2 inch when I'm turning it over with lining. So that's why I had to do 2.5 from there. So after that, now I'm going to connect this to the tip of this point here. So I'm going to connect it in a straight line across. So guys, that's basically it. I've connected it now. So all I have to do is to go ahead and cut mine out. So guys, this is it. I've gone ahead and cut it. So first you cut round from your armhole. This one is out. And then you cut the excess you have on the side. And then you cut all the way down here. And then you follow this line, cut into this part, and then cut out this part. And then you cut this one out. And then the same thing for this part. So now you're left with the bodice that you're working with. So now I'm not going to reduce this neckline. I don't want it to be sweetheart. I just want it exactly like how the picture looks. So I'm going to leave the neck squared like this. So all I have to do now is I'm going to have this one at the center. Right, this is going to be my center piece, and then I'm going to have 2 of this on the side. So 1 on this side and then 1 on this side. So all I have to do is just to place this by this side this way, and then sew it down to the end. Do the same thing on this side, place it this way and sew it down to the end, right? But before that, we are going to finish up the back panel. For the back panel, as you can see, this is a fabric that is folded into 2. I've gone ahead and pinned down the front on it. So all I have to do is just to follow the side seam here and cut it out, because the two sides, the side of the front and the side of the back, will meet each other. So it's best to use that side as your landmark. So I've cut this side out now. I'm also going to go ahead from the front and cut this side from the top part, cut out the armhole. But then the back, for me, because I can't see the back of this one, so for me, I'm going to use a strap at the back of mine. So for that here, I have about, instead of doing the width of my back panel to be, because normally the same width you use in front is what you normally use for the back, and then add a zip to the back. But for me here, instead of doing the same width, I did bust measurement divided by 4 plus extra 2 inches. For the front, I did extra 3.5 or so. I just did extra 2 inches. So I'm going to, and I don't want a lot of space in between mine. But if you want, you can just do extra, just enough to contain your sides and then the darting. And then you can, whatever is left, you can use it as your crisscross part. So I don't want mine to open, so that's why I did it this way. So all I have to do now is I'm going to remove this one at the top. I'll just pull it over, And then at this top part here, I'm going to, because you see the length of the top of the front and the back are the same, I'm going to bring this down a little bit by about 2 inches. And then at the bottom, I'm going to take it up by about 1.5. And then I'm going to just connect it to the edge of my clothes. So let me remove this now. So this 1.5, I'm going to connect it to the edge of this here, because I don't want the back to just run across this way with the strap. I want it to curve a little bit at the back, and then from the top I want it to go a little bit up at the bottom part here. So I'm going to connect this to the top here, and then for the bottom the same thing. I'm going to mark this all the way to the edge of the cloth. So I'm going to cut the 2 pieces out. So guys, this is my back panel. There's 2 of them. I'm going to also trace out a lining for this here. So guys, all I have to do is I'm going to just use, this is what it's going to look like at the back. So I'm going to use a lining to flip it over, and then I'm going to attach my loop for the the strap, and then it's also going to have a dart here, just at the back here, just one dart going all the way from the top to the bottom here with 1/2 inch. It here, I've gone ahead and attached this thing to it just for design. There's no case, it's not like I'm passing any bone in between. So all I did is just to follow the stitches. So I followed the 2 side stitches, and then on the center I just marked a straight line here, and then just sew this here. All this is just for fancy, it's not really like a corset. So the next thing I'm going to do now, as you can see, my lining is ready. All I have to do is, you see, I joined it, I cut the lining pieces of 2 sides of the front and 1 center. So all I'm going to do now is just to join it at the top here, and then join this basic side, and then fold it out from this part here and iron it. So I'm going to place this way, join the top part in a straight line, and then join this V, iron it, flip it inside out and iron it. As you can see, the right side of this is facing the right side of the lining, and then the 2 sides with the seam are facing out. So the same thing is what I'm going to do for the back. As you can see, I've sewn this here, I've sewn this, just 1 on each side of the back is what I'm going to have. And then I'm going to place this here, the lining on this part here, and then you see I've made these straps here. I have about 5 of them. So all I'm going to do now is just to close up this side, close up this end, and then inside of this here, before I close up the lower part, I'm going to just put this in between this way, facing in, just like this. You can pin it down, face it inside this way, and then sew the lining on top of it also in a straight line this way, so that once you're done, let me show you guys with this one. Once you're done, I've not attached the black piece on this, but once you're done, you will have the edge looking this way, and then you have this inside of it. You see the loop for your rope, that's what you have on the inside. So after that also, then we'll come and talk about the sleeve. Here I've gone ahead and joined the 2 sides, you see, on this side and then on this side. So this is what it looks like now, and then I finished up here also. So you see, this opening, from this opening is where I turned this thing over. I closed up the edge, closed up the top, and then fixed this in between. So these 2 are going to come in between here this way. So guys, this is what the front looks like also. And so now for the armhole, all I have to do is, I've cut out what I need. There's 2 of them here on a fold. The length I have here is 25, but I folded 1.5 at the top, 1.5 at the bottom. So guys, all you have to do now is to take this here and place this on top here, and then with this here, I'm going to cut open this part. As you can see, I've made a loop for my elastic on top, and then I've folded the bottom also for my elastic. So all I'm going to do now is to just mark this part with chalk, drawing this armhole here, one of them, just drawing this armhole, and then I'm going to cut this part out. It's going to be my armhole. I'm going to attach it to that. So guys, you're going to pass elastic at the top and pass elastic at the bottom, and that's basically it. You attach the sleeve to the body. And guys, this is the type of rope I want to use. I don't want to use the smaller one, but you can use the smaller one. You can. So all you have to do is just to take this bit here. I've gone ahead and attached the sleeve. I've done the 2 sides and finished it. So this is the body here. This is done. You see, the sleeve also is done here. So this is the back. So guys, I think I'm going to go back and reduce the belt because I think it looks too bold for this. So I might just split it into two and make a smaller belt. But this is what the back looks like here. So this here is supposed to go crisscross and then you tie it at the back here. So that's basically it for this tutorial. So thank you guys so much for watching, and please like, share and subscribe. Bye.